The other day we had huge news in Israel. Netanyahu requests a pardon. Let's break this down to truly understand this headline properly and what this is all about. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did not ask for a pardon because he is guilty of anything. There have been court cases against him for decades. They haven't been able to get him on anything. Netanyahu asked for a pardon because after close to 30 years of continuous investigations, fabrications, leaks, manipulated witnesses, and media incitement, every single case brought against him has collapsed under the weight of its own lies by the justice system trying to topple Netanyahu. I've been raising the alarm about the systematic legal assault on Netanyahu from the very beginning, dating back to his first term as Prime Minister of Israel back in 1996. The justice system has spent 3 decades trying to bring down one man, and after failing again and again and again, the system itself now stands exposed as the biggest political weapon ever deployed against a sitting Israeli Prime Minister. Sound familiar to President Trump and what he's gone through over these years? The moment is not a concession. It is an indictment, not of Netanyahu, but of those who abuse the legal institutions of the State of Israel to try to destroy Netanyahu and topple him, representing the leader of the right-wing traditional religious Israeli public that they were trying to attack by trying to get rid of Netanyahu. For years, many of us warned the justice system, the prosecution, senior legal officials, and their partners in the mainstream media were running a political war, not a legal process against Netanyahu. The goal was never justice, it was regime change. Israelis were told that Netanyahu was corrupt, Netanyahu was a criminal, Netanyahu would soon fall. These are the headline news across all mainstream media for years. Instead, something else fell. The credibility of the justice system itself. Because while they hunted Netanyahu relentlessly, the public watched as the very people weaponizing the law became the biggest violators of it. The public watched as evidence in the cases against Netanyahu were revealed to be manipulated. They watched as it was exposed that state witnesses were pressured and threatened to testify against Netanyahu. They watched case after case fall apart, not because Netanyahu was powerful, but because the accusations against him were baseless and thrown out of court. And now the facade has shattered entirely. The latest crisis is the clearest proof of all. Supreme Court Chief Justice Amit illegally appointed himself Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in violation of legal procedures and democratic norms. And the entire legal establishment and mainstream media is backing him. These are the same people who insisted for years that the law is sacred, procedural purity is everything, and no one, especially not a prime minister, may ever circumvent judicial authority. Yet, when one of their own does far worse, suddenly the entire system and the mainstream media are silent. Silence is complicity, and many Israelis are no longer blind. Then came the Stay Taiman blood libelous video. After a year of denial and burying the case, the military attorney general admitted responsibility for leaking a manufactured, manipulated video to the press and then to the world, fueling the biggest modern blood libel against Jews in all of history, leading to billions of video views around the world of something that never took place, an even bigger spike in Jew hatred, and United Nations resolution stating the IDF soldiers sexually harassed Hamas terrorists, all a fabricated lie that the video doesn't even show. But that's the perception. A national firestorm followed. The Attorney General covered for her. The Supreme Court Chief Justice, the same one who appointed himself Chief Justice, is blocking every investigator proposed by the Justice Minister to investigate. A full month later, after her confession, fake suicide attempt, and tampering with evidence, throwing her own phone into the sea, no investigation into the military attorney general has begun. Why? Because an investigation would expose all of them. The prosecution, the military attorney general's office, the attorney general's office, and the Supreme Court. They'll all be exposed for involvement. As an important tangent, a transparent investigation would also determine whether the claims are true that the Biden administration was not simply a bystander in the beginning of the war, but involved in the State Timan video leak to provide them the legal pretext they needed to apply the Leahy law and freeze critical weapons shipments to Israel at the time, because the Biden administration was trying to pressure Netanyahu to stop the war in Gaza, and they were withholding weapons from us, and they wanted a law, this Leahy law. This State Timan scandal is not a failure of oversight. It is a revelation of the tremendous rot of the deep state / legal establishment. While this corrupt legal elite sabotaged the war effort since October 7th, weakened the government, and smeared IDF soldiers, the cases against Netanyahu continued to unravel. Every witness has fallen apart, because the truth always eventually does what truth does. Netanyahu is not asking forgiveness for crimes he didn't commit by asking for this pardon. He is forcing the country to confront the real criminals, those who abuse the justice system to overthrow him, an democratically elected prime minister. This is not the defeat of Netanyahu. This is the exposure of those who have been trying to defeat him. They've been wanting to remove him by force, not by ballot. They wanted to replace democracy with judicial dictatorship rule. They believed the people would bow, because who doesn't want to believe the law and the letter of the law and the people who speak in the name of the law? Instead, they triggered a national awakening. Many Israelis today now see clearly what some of us have been highlighting for decades: a small, unelected, secular elite, disconnected from the people, protecting itself at the expense of the nation. They thought taking down Netanyahu would secure their power. Instead, they have signed their own downfall. They still hold influence. They still are going to fight. But eventually they will lose. Not through revenge or political purges, but through sunlight. Exposure is fatal to corruption. A deep state only succeeds if it's deep. If it's exposed, it can't succeed. Netanyahu will remain in power until the people choose otherwise. Not the prosecutors, not the journalists, not the judges. A democracy removes leaders with ballots, not with leaks, threats, and fabricated witch hunt indictments. The deep state legal establishment has failed to topple Netanyahu, but in doing so, it is toppling its own legitimacy. And the Israeli public is awake now. Much of the Israeli public is awake now. They see who built the blood libels. They see who has been manipulating justice. And they see who has illegally seized authority and doesn't let the voice of the people, the will of the people, have a say. Israel is entering a new era, one where no unelected power can rule from the shadows and no legal elite can decide elections in place of the people. Prime Minister Netanyahu asked for a pardon not for himself, but it's for the state of Israel and the people of Israel, to end this manufactured war against the proud Jewish population in Israel, which he represents, and allow the nation to move forward. To understand the depth of this deep state judicial witch hunt against Netanyahu, the following must be understood. The anti-Netanyahu protest machine has worn many costumes over the years. First it was economic protesters, then it was COVID protesters, then judicial reform protesters, then hostage protesters, then ultra-Orthodox IDF draft protesters, and now it's the new one, the October 7th inquiry protesters. The messaging has changed each time, but the mission never did. With enormous funding each time, and aggressive advertising and marketing campaigns engineered to inflame emotions about real issues to fracture society, the objective was consistent: use those issues as wedge issues to topple Netanyahu by any means outside the ballot box. They never cared about the issues. They say they did. And now, with many Israelis recognizing the pattern, the protest movement has shriveled to a small ideological fringe driven more by resentment of a proud Jewish state of Israel that Netanyahu and his constituents represent than by reality. They're the ones who are filled with the hatred. The masses were the ones manipulated. The deep state supporting fringe wants an Israel devoid of Jewish identity, exactly as Ron Pundak, right-hand man of former Prime Minister Shimon Peres and chief architect of the Oslo peace accords, When he was asked about the failure of the peace process to obtain peace, do you want to know what his response was? The Oslo Peace Accords were never about peace. They were about stopping Israel from becoming a Jewish state. Quote from Ron Pundak. Not enough people in Israel understand this, but at least the mask of the deep state is being exposed, and support for the witch hunt against Netanyahu has dropped significantly. Because now more people know the truth. The deep state did not defeat Netanyahu. It has exposed itself and sealed its own downfall. It's still going to take a while, and they're still going to fight, but the downfall is coming. Strengthen your faith in God. We are in the midst of a tremendous wake-up process, just like many Americans with everything that was dealing with Trump all these years. We will defeat our enemies who want to destroy Israel, and we will overcome our internal challenges who want to neuter the Jewish character of the state of Israel, as Ron Pundak said the whole Oslo peace process was really about. Great times are coming for humanity as the Jewish people continue to internalize and fulfill our divine purpose in living in our ancestral biblical homeland. Stay with me at the Pulse of Israel for thoughtful, in-depth analysis, belief-based, and powerful updates you will not find anywhere else, and support our work. Am Yisrael Chai. If you are not yet a subscriber to our daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect, truthful videos about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world, what are you waiting for? Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe today. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. We need your donations for support in order to make these videos and get our videos seen and do all the work we do. So every once in a while, whether a large donation or a small donation, just go to pulseofisrael.com and click on the donate button. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.